I'm 35 male and was married to my ex-wife, April, 29, for 3 years before she broke all her promises and cheated on me. My wife and I used to be two lovebirds, and it still surprises me that I have to share my story on this platform. The first time I met my April was at a fancy dinner party one of my friends hosted. He and his wife had been trying to have a child for 11 years but couldn't. So when his wife finally got pregnant, he invited his close friends to come and party and celebrate with him. This was where I met April. She was a close friend of my friend's wife, and we chatted and got along well during the party. Coincidentally, when I got home that evening, as I was scrolling through my Facebook feed, April's picture popped up on my People You May Know notification, and I considered that as a sign from the universe. I reached out to her, we talked, and we fixed a date to get to know each other. Eventually, our first date led to more dates and a relationship. Then we married. April was such a beautiful soul, and marrying her felt like a dream come true. She was perfect for me, and she was a very hardworking woman. She worked as a marketer, and I worked in a furniture shop as a carpenter. April was calm, peaceful, and much of an introvert. I was the extrovert, and we complemented each other. We never had any issue we could not resolve for the first 2 years of our marriage, but this changed in the 3rd year. The 3rd year of our marriage became a war zone, and April no longer listened to me like she used to. She did what she wanted and did not care about me or anyone. Before our fight started, April and I never disrespectfully raised our voices at each other. We loved each other so much, and I didn't think I'd survive without her. And because we were not ready to have children yet, April and I decided to wait for at least 2 years before we had a child. And that was exactly what we did. Before April got pregnant, she was the kind of woman that was obsessed with her body. She hated belly fat or anything that would make her look awkward in her dress. Initially, I thought it was normal for women to care so much about their looks and body, but I didn't think April would continue with her obsession even after she gave birth, but I was very wrong. As a matter of fact, her obsession with her body became worse. Shortly after she gave birth to our baby boy, she started making a fuss about her body and how much her body had changed. Her mom and I explained that it was normal for pregnant women to add extra pounds while pregnant, and she should quit making a big deal out of it. When her complaints started, there was literally nothing we didn't say to April to make her snap out of her getting her old body back in the same month. Her mom even told her that it took years for her stomach to go down and for the stretch marks to disappear after she had April. She said this because she believed it would get April to change her mind and go easy on herself, but April didn't listen. April told her mother to her face that her mother's body was different, and just because her mother agreed to walk around with a sagging stomach and stretch marks for years did not mean she would do the same thing. So it got to a point where we all stopped talking about it and we allowed her to do her thing. After arguing with me and her mom for weeks, April started doing home workouts. She signed up on a fitness app, but no matter how she worked out, she still wasn't satisfied. Because of her obsession, she barely had time to look after the baby. She would leave her mother with the responsibility of taking care of our child and would work out at least 6 hours a day to the extent that her entire body and bones would hurt her, but she wouldn't stop. Not to sound like a pessimist, but weeks after she started her rigorous workout sessions without rest, she broke down, and I was happy. For me, her excessive workout was a major thing of concern to us. So after she had broken down and realized she had bitten off more than she could chew, she stopped on her own. When she stopped, it was a relief for me and her mom. Her mother had to abandon everything she was doing at home to come and live with us so she could look after the baby. She knew April was in no condition to care for her baby, so she had to stay for her grandson. After weeks passed and April did not mention anything about her body, we were glad. I was happy her body was finally getting enough rest and her mind would get rest too, but my happiness did not last long. While we were having dinner with her mother one evening, April said she had something to tell us. Initially, I thought she would say something about taking full responsibility as a mother, but no, It was about her body. She told us she stumbled on a yoga class page on Facebook and she would love to enroll in it. Then, she went on to say that she knew I wouldn't understand her because I wasn't the one who bore our son for 9 months. I knew she was emotionally blackmailing me, so I said she should enroll. During that week, she was quiet. I tried to look at things from her angle and read about postnatal depression online. I thought I understood what she was going through then, so I didn't want to make things more complicated for her. Fast forward to the following weeks. April started her yoga classes and attended them religiously. Shortly after she joined the yoga classes, I noticed that she looked happier and her excitement over the little things of life returned. Before she joined the yoga classes, I was always careful with my words, and I had to think twice before complimenting her because she picked offenses quickly. For example, if she wore an old dress and I tell her she looked beautiful, she would say I was mocking her and make a fuss about it. The same applies to her looks and every other thing. If I called her beautiful, she would say something like, "I'm sure you meant to say fat," and she would ruin the moment. But after she started her yoga classes, she was like a teenage girl trying to explore the world. Most times, she would even come to me and ask how she looked in her sketches or whatever she wore. She became more concerned with her looks in a more positive way. Honestly, I was impressed and happy that my wife was gradually returning. I believed that the influence of the other women from her yoga class was finally rubbing off on her, and she was beginning to view her body from a different dimension. While all of this happened, her mother was still with us. We expected she would also change in caring for our child, but this is one area we had a problem with. April depended on her mother to care for our son and would prefer to leave breast milk in bottles and breastfeed our son directly. As if that wasn't enough, she moved from attending her yoga classes once a day to twice a day. When this happened, I complained to her that yoga classes were taking all her time and she no longer spent time with us, her family, like she used to. But April didn't listen. She started getting defensive and would say things like, "You're joking if you think I will quit my yoga classes just to spend time with you." The most annoying part of it all was, she was given a few months leave from work to look after our baby, and she spent most of that time doing something else. Within a twinkle of an eye, we moved from the happy and peaceful couple we were known as to a couple that always argued. There was no day we didn't argue. If it wasn't about her yoga classes, it would be about the house and how she left the responsibility of cleaning, cooking, and laundry to her poor mom, who was already struggling with caring for our baby. On my end, I tried as much as I could to balance work and looking after our son. Our son was a night owl and loved waking up at night. I knew I had to carry him around at night because my mother-in-law would be so exhausted by then. On her end, April did not care if our son woke up at night. She would cover her head with a pillow whenever he started crying, and I would be forced to go and get him. She wanted her beauty sleep of 10 hours. This happened almost every night, and I got fed up at one point. If I confronted her about the issue of not attending to our son at night, she'd tell me she carried him for 9 months, even on the day she didn't want to, so it was my turn to carry him. This always sounded stupid because I didn't understand how a mother could neglect her son and prioritize her fitness over him. As if everything she was doing wasn't enough, April started coming home late. The first time she did it, she said her yoga classmates were going for a hangout, so she joined them to have fun. I didn't have an issue with her hanging out with her friends, but I was mad because she didn't inform us that they would be late. We kept waiting for her at the dinner table. I believed it wouldn't happen again, but that was only the beginning. She started keeping late nights, and sometimes she would say she had a one-on-one yoga class with her yoga teacher. When April mentioned her one-on-one yoga class with her teacher the first time, it didn't sit well with me because it didn't make sense. She was already doing 2 classes a day, and I wondered why she still needed the one-on-one class. I told her she needed to stop because I would not watch her neglect her family for selfish reasons. We had a severe argument about it, leading to her sleeping out of the house. This had never happened before, and throughout that night I couldn't sleep because I was worried about her. Her mother was also concerned, and we called all her friends, but none of them said she went to their place. She wasn't taking my calls too, and deep down, I blamed myself for speaking to her like that. Fortunately, she returned the following morning, and I was first to apologize. We had never had such a fight before, and her mom was shocked that she left the house in anger, which was very unlike her. April also apologized and admitted that she acted childishly. She told us she did not want to inconvenience any of her friends, so she slept in the motel, and we believed her. Later that week, she stopped staying out late and began to spend more time with us. But the following week, she went back to her real self. I don't know why, but I had this gut feeling that she didn't sleep alone in the motel that night. I tried to get rid of the thoughts, but they kept returning, so I decided to investigate. My suspicion was that she was seeing someone else after her yoga classes because she was steadily chatting on her phone the night we fought. And the next thing she said was, "I need somewhere to cool my head." And she walked out on me. I decided to do some digging, and I started with her phone. Not to sound funny, but April had a closer relationship with her phone than with me. She was always on her phone, and even if we went to bed together, she would prefer to chat on the phone than to talk with me or cuddle like we used to. When I went through her phone that night, I couldn't find anything that indicated that she was either in a talking stage with someone or seeing someone. The only messages I saw were her messages from her yoga class group chat, a few of her friends, and her yoga teacher. None of them looked suspicious, and I even checked the rest of her phone for hidden or deleted dating apps, but I couldn't find anything. When I couldn't find anything, I decided to go back to her WhatsApp and do some extra digging, but I accidentally opened the message from her yoga teacher. I didn't think of it as anything until I saw the last message he sent to her. He asked her about the part of her body that was hurting her, and she responded that she felt better, but she would still need his magic touch to totally get healed. She didn't even have many messages with him. All her previous messages were missing, and I felt like she deleted them. The last message he sent seemed like it was part of a previous conversation they had. I read the message multiple times to be sure I understood her response. I interpreted it in different ways, but it still pointed to her keeping me in the dark about something. The rest of the night, I thought of the possibility of her having an affair with her yoga teacher, but I was quick to dismiss it. But the following day, when I saw how excited she was to go to her yoga class, the thought crawled back, and I decided to find out myself. After her first morning noon session, she returned home as usual and did some things at home, then left again in the evening. That evening, I went to her yoga class about an hour before it was over, and I waited somewhere. Eventually, her class was dismissed, and I watched all her colleagues come out, but she didn't. I waited about 30 minutes after they dismissed me, and when I didn't see any sign of her or her yoga teacher leaving, my heart began to pound fast. I didn't think about anything. It just started to pound fast on its own, which was a terrible feeling. After waiting for another 15 minutes and no sign of them, I decided to go in and see things for myself. Although the gate of the yoga hall was locked from the inside, there was a window. I peeped through it and heard loud laughter, and it was from my wife. I tried to slide the window slightly, and luckily it slid. I saw her sitting on her coach's lap, and he had his hands all over her. To not be seen, I hid behind the wall of their entrance and watched April as she passionately made out with her yoga coach. The funny thing was, we had not kissed each other with so much passion for months. She barely even allowed me to touch her because she claimed her body was healing. After about 3 minutes of watching them, I took up my phone and carefully recorded them. She looked so happy with him, and it hurt me. Their kiss lasted for minutes, and after that, she took off her top and he started touching and kissing her body. At that point, I could not watch them anymore, so I turned around and left. I went home and waited for her to return, and she returned an hour later. To confirm if she had been lying to me, I asked her where she had been because she was almost 2 hours late. She told me she went out with her colleagues and even returned home earlier than some of them. By this, she meant that some of her colleagues were still hanging out. I couldn't even say anything. I just looked at her and walked away. I thought of the perfect way of confronting and exposing her, and public humiliation came to mind. I was so hurt and heartbroken, and even my mother-in-law noticed something was wrong. The next day, after April went for her usual morning yoga sessions, I gave her a surprise visit about an hour later. When I got there, I went with a bouquet of flowers and the recording. I wanted it to look like a romantic humiliation, so I gave her the flowers first and asked her yoga teacher if I could project something special for April. I told him I wanted to appreciate her and that I had not been appreciating her enough as her husband, and he agreed. The great part was her colleagues were there, and they were all excited for April. I was equally excited too, so I played the recording, and as soon as it started, everyone gasped in shock. As soon as April saw it, she started yelling at me that it was not what it looks like. It was therapy. Well, she shut up when the video got to the part she took off her top and her yoga teacher kissed and played with her body. Her colleagues started murmuring, and when I asked them if it looked like it was therapy to all of them, they screamed no and started calling her names. April was so embarrassed that she didn't even know what to say. When I left, her yoga teacher was busy explaining to his students, and I loved how angry they were. When I got home, I played the same video for her mom, and she was livid. Then I moved April's things to the front porch. Although her mom was angry and mad, she tried to beg on her daughter's behalf, and I told her she would have to leave if she tried to talk about April again. All of this happened last month, and since then, April has been begging me to take her back, and she'll quit her yoga classes and be a good mother and wife to our son and me. I really want to divorce her because I cannot stand a cheating woman, but I'm afraid of raising our son without a mother. He's barely 5 months old. What do I do? I'm so confused. Now for the first update. Hello everyone. Thank you for your comments. I did as you all advised. For those asking if I didn't see any signs that April was cheating on me, the truth is I didn't. I was so occupied with working hard and caring for our home that I didn't notice. Besides, it is unimaginable to think that a woman who had delivered a baby 5 months ago would cheat. If it weren't for the night she slipped out of the house and returned all happy in the morning, I wouldn't have known she was cheating on me. It still shocks me that after all my sacrifices for her, she could cheat on me like that. Most of you are right. She wouldn't decide to change if she wasn't caught. She would keep messing around with him, and who knows? She would have brought home his pregnancy. Someone here commented that I should do a paternity test on our son, and I did that. We are a match, and I'm so relieved he's mine. Last week, April came to my house again to beg me. She looked miserable and said I was tormenting her by keeping her son away from her. It's funny how she suddenly remembered that she had a son. All those months, she neglected him and only breastfed him the week and a week after he was born. Yet, she could take off her clothes to let her yoga teacher suck and play with her body. When she realized that her pleas were falling on deaf ears, she tried to beg her mother to talk to me, but that didn't work too. Speaking of her mom, I can't begin to explain how supportive her mother has been. After the last time I asked her if she would beg on April's behalf if I were her son, she stopped begging and has been looking after her grandson. The thing now is, April is mad at her mother for taking my side and not hers, and the last time she came, she made a scene and said her mother ruined her marriage. She said her mother should never have come to help with the baby because she snatched me from her. How dumb. After that day, she disappeared for a while and did not call me or show up at the house. But after she got served 4 days ago, she came back. She said I was wicked to divorce her because she cheated on me once. She even said that other women she knew had cheated 2 or 3 times on their husbands, but they always worked things out. I didn't know what to say to her, so I let her rant until she was tired. She started abusing her mother when she was tired of yelling my name and making a scene. She called her mother all sorts of names and said her mother and I were having an affair and that her mother was shameless to snatch her daughter's husband. Her mother was so disappointed when she heard that, and out of anger, she confronted her daughter, and April assaulted her mother. It got so bad that the neighbors had to come out and we had to call the police on her. Our court hearing is next week, and I will make another update as soon as our divorce is finalized. Meanwhile, I got a restraining order for April. Whether her mom is at my house or not, she has no right to show up. Now for the second update. Hello everyone. I come bearing good news. So, April and I are officially divorced and I won custody of our child. As some of you suggested, I asked her mother to go and I hired a leave-in nanny. The sweetest part is that April will also be paying child support and will only see the baby on weekends. Our case was tough, but seeing that she never cared about our baby, I couldn't let her take my son away from me. After we finished the divorce case, she hasn't stopped calling me and has been sending messages on Facebook. I even had to block her, but she won't stop. She keeps opening new accounts and sending messages requests. In the second to the last one she sent, she said it was my fault that she cheated on me. She said I treated her like trash and did not appreciate her body after she bore our son. That's a big lie. I tried to make her feel like I still loved her no matter how she looked, but she would take it as an insult every time I tried to compliment her. She went on to say that her yoga teacher made her feel loved and made her comfortable in her skin. Sincerely, it was really painful to read that. She was the one that was obsessed with her body and not me, but she twisted her words and made me look like I was forcing her to do those workouts. In the last message she sent, she begged me and said she regretted everything she did and would never do it again if I gave her another chance. I wasn't even surprised that she switched from being defensive to a meek lamb. I was forced to respond to that message and I told her that we could never be together again, not in her dreams or reality. She has her yoga teacher now and they can do all the therapy they want in the world. It still hurts that despite loving her so much and promising each other to do life together, she cheated on me for her own stupid and selfish reasons. Anyways, I'd rather be a single father forever than be married to a cheating whore. Thank you everyone for your comments. I wouldn't have done this without you. And because of you all, I didn't let my emotions take over my sense. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you again.